Am I audible to you?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. So today's session, what we will cover is about permissions. Basically, we'll start with permissions and ownership. The last day, we have another candidate also in our session. You good name, please? Bharat. Yeah, we have Bharat with us. So last session we talked about a couple of things in which we mentioned about user creation, group creation, correct? About the primary group, secondary groups, right? So it's nothing. I'll just give a brief introduction of what we covered. The users, like so, there's a multi operating system, correct? Multi-user operating system, multi-tasking operating system. It could be possible that there could be multiple users which log into the system. Could be a remote system so that you can SSH or remote log into the system so that you can do your activities. Since you're already working on Windows, you will know about the concept of. So we talked about creation of users, right? We also in Linux we have something called primary group and the secondary group. Primary group is a group which a user is by default member of, right? Secondary group is that he can be member of that group as well. He can be member of only one primary group, but he can be member of multiple secondary groups. Like for example, if a user is a employee of XYZ company, so maybe he would be a part of group called employees as a primary group. But he would be supporting Unix environments. So he could be what to say. Um, he will be a member of secondary groups like Linux support, Unix support, Solaris support. Maybe he have multiple operating systems. So he can be a member of multiple groups, right? So that when he log in, he get the appropriate credentials, right? So in today's class, primarily we will be focusing on the permissions, right? Which is an very important concept in Linux. So you should understand the permissions very sorry thoroughly, right? So what I will say is that key after end of the class, I will upload the what is the documentation maybe today or tomorrow. I will upload the basic documentation cheat sheets, basically which is based on commands and all those things what we learned here, plus some additional commands. So you can practice those and you can see how it works on your own. And I would also suggest you people that you the topics which I teach here. So apart from what to say, going through the documentations, I will also share Red Hat links or documentation. We can directly go ahead and download the documentations, which is fairly big documentation, but you don't have to go through all those things. I would say that Google around with some like Linux permissions and ownership or maybe user creation, user add, because when you go through different documentation, you will learn more and more, right? So if you have any questions or all those things, definitely ask in chat or maybe call me directly. That is okay. So we'll start with today's thing is that basically in Windows, okay, just for you, in Windows we have something called C drive, D drive, and all those things. Correct? In Linux we have only one drive called // okay. So there's no backslash is there, but it is not used for directories and all those things. So Linux, the topmost directory is slash, right? In Windows we have C, D separately. D doesn't resides in C; it's a separate drive. But Linux, everything comes under /xyz /abc /xyz abc, correct? For some reason. So right now what we are going to do is that we are going in /temp directory, cd /temp, cd command, just like in Windows cd-dar, correct? Change dir. So here I'm in my temp directory, which is
not able to setting for and let it go.
That is slow. Hey Shirisha, can you view? You're able to view my screen?
I can, yes.
Okay, you can see the commands which I type, right?
Yes, I can.
So what happened to the system?
Okay, you can open the thing, right? Okay, fine. So anyway, the video recording is there. You can always see over there. You can see that basically I'm in a /temp directory where I have issued ls-l command, which gives you a long listing. Okay, you can also do ll command, which is again the same thing. Okay, one thing I want to tell you in Linux is that there is no single method of doing a thing. You can have multiple commands to achieve the same stuff. correct? You can create a file with multiple commands. You can display file with multiple commands. So don't think that key we can only do with one command. There are multiple ways. You, from your perspective, would be right. He, from his perspective, would be right when you speak about a command that key, output of command, this command is this, right? So, okay, just look on the permissions that I'm going to tell you over here. Okay, better for further understanding, ls minus li we will do, because li we have learned in yesterday's sorry, last session also. When I do ls minus li, you get an output, right? This is the output which I'm going to explain you. So the first field, you can see that normally you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There are 9 fields basically. Okay. So the first field is basically the inode number. Last time, as I told that, inode number is nothing but it is a special pointer to a file, or it is a reference to a file where the file actually resides. So when your we might refer the file with the file name, but system internally refers that using the inode number, right? So the second field is about the permissions. This is what we are going to learn today. Third field is nothing, it's just a basically a link, how many files or directories are there. So time being for understand that it is a link. Third, fourth and fifth field, this is also something which we are going to learn today. This is the owner and group owner of file or directory. Okay, so first is inode, second is permission, second is links, fourth is the owner of the file or directory, and fifth is your group owner, right? Sixth is the size of the file or directory, what it is called as. Okay, you then seventh field basically, that is September 15, what it called, it is a single field. Okay, this is your date, right? And
Lastly modified.
Yeah, last modified date, correct. So the eighth field is your time. Okay, time is modified time basically. Okay, and the last field is your exact name, that is whether it is file name, directory name, or link name, whatever it is. It is a name which it corresponds to. Clear? So this field is very important, because when you do some scriptings and all those things, maybe you would be interested in looking only the second field. You can maybe filter it out. Okay, so you should know that the ninth field of ls minus li or ls minus l command is basically a file name or directory name. So if you want to check the time and date of a particular file, then what you need to do? You need to grab for 7th and 8th field. Okay, so the field is important. Clear? So this comes over a period of time, but you know that with a particular field command, you can retrieve it. We'll learn about a little bit of search and awk later on, then I will teach you how to retrieve that. Okay, so now we will look into the file owner, permissions, and all those things. So before we go into permissions, we will see the ownership. So now what I'm going to do is that I am creating a file named Linux. Okay, so I type something over here. Doesn't matter what it is, right? ls minus li or l, whatever it is. You can individually list that file, correct? So that it gives just you the contents. Okay, the permission you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So when you do ls minus l, there is only 8 field. But when you do ls minus li, right, there will be 9 fields. IL or li, that doesn't matter. Okay. So normally it depends upon what output you get and the field. So we will be looking at the permission field. We will look at the group owner and the owner and the group of the file which I have created. So right now what you can see, I am root, right? Correct. How do you identify root? By this hash symbol. If it is a hash, it is root, and if it is $, it is normal user. We have covered in the earlier sessions. So now I'm going to okay, before we change the permission, you need to ensure that the owner which you are going to change, that needs to be present in the system. That needs to be present in the system. You cannot change ownership to a user who is not present in the system. Correct? For example, the command to change ownership is ch own command. Ch on. Okay, Linux command are case sensitive, so ensure that you put everything in small letter. Ch on, then the format is basically user :group. Okay, this is format syntax. Okay, user means owner, group is group owner, and it is file or directory name. This is the syntax. So now I am going to change the permission to a user called Liju, group called Liju, okay, and to a file called Linux. Correct? So now you do ls-li again. You see the owner and the group has changed. It is not mandatory that you give the owner and group as the same. Okay, you can give to some other group also, so that any member in that group can access this file. Okay, how he can access depends upon the permission that we'll look next. Clear? This is very important, because if you're preparing for an examination, if you're planning to write an examination, there will be a couple of questions regarding permission and group. There will be questions regarding to change the ownership of a file or directory, or to something, to a group. They might be asking that, hey, this directory should be accessible by these users. They should be able to write, read, put files into this directory. So you have to what? Give, yeah, change the ownership or file of the file or group of the file according to that. Okay. See, when you give file, ensure that you give limited permissions always. Right? What is required, you give only that. Don't give excess permissions. Like for example, okay, we'll look upon when the permission comes. So right now, understand that key, how you can change the ownership of a file or directory and group ownership of file or directory. Similarly, mkdir, I'm going to create a directory called mkdir training. Okay, ls-ld to list directory it is. Sorry, this is the permission of the directory. It is ls-ld. You cannot do ls-l training, because it will take you to what? It will list the contents of the directory. So if you want to list the permission of the or ownership of the directory, you should do ls-ld. So here it is root. So I'm going to change it. Right. So let me see that what user is there. Okay. So I'm going to create let me see if any group is there or not. Okay, let me create a group at, okay, sysadmin. I've created a call sysadmin. Clear? So sorry. So what I'm going to do here is that let's check on the permissions of this directory. It is training root. Now what I'm going to do is that I am going to change the owner of this training directory to Liju. Owner. Okay. Sysadmin is a group. You cannot make it as a owner. Correct? Sysadmin is a group. You can only add that to the group field only. Correct? So if you put sysadmin as a group as an owner, they will say that no such user exists. Like for example, chown, I put sysadmin and training. Correct? It says that invalid user. That means there is no user named sysadmin. If you want to check, what you do is that id sysadmin. So no such user. That means this is the way to check if there is a user exists or not. Multiple ways. You can check the password file also. Clear? So now I know that there is a user called Liju because I just created it. When you do id Liju, it says that this is the user, and it has got a same user called Liju also. which we have changed. So now I'm going to do chown, correct? Chown, user owner is Liju, and I'm going to make the group owner as sysadmin of what? Training. Training is a directory, correct? So I did it. Oh, sorry, not chmod. My mistakes. Chon. Okay, chon. So if you again look at the permission, see now owner has changed to Liju. Group has changed to sysadmin. Earlier it was root. So you want to change it to root again. Chmod. Sorry, chon. Root, full column, root, and training. Clear? Now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to touch a few files in training directory. Okay, I'm going to say 1 to 10. This is a way to create multiple files. UCH. Okay, so ls training. All files have been created by a user called root. Since I am the root user, right? Who am I? I've logged in as root. So this is the other thing that any user who he has logged in as, right? If I am a user, my name is Liju, who I have logged in as Liju. So what will happen is that I can create a file or directory with a user or owner by default, which belongs to me. Clear? So who creates a file? The file or directory belongs to him. Clear? As an administrator, okay, root being an administrator, he can change any permission of a file or directory, whether it is owned by him or any other user. But as a user, you can only change, you can also change the permission, but you can only change the permission or ownership of a file which you own, not with some other human user. So that is the privilege of root user or super user. Clear? So now I'm going to show you a recursive permission. Correct? Like for example, let me show it again. Let me create a couple of directories. Training ABC, maybe training Linux. Okay. Inside that, I'm training September. Okay. Batch. Yeah. So I'm going to name multiple directories, which is not present. So I do -p. Clear? So what I do is that training, there is a directory, or if I do ls minus r or ls minus r, you can see there's a directory called Linux in which under training there's a directory called Linux and few files in there. In Linux there's a file called September_batch. Correct? Inside that there could be a couple of files also if you want. I can just copy files from trainings. Maybe one, I can copy this file into Linux, into the training Linux, September. Okay. So there is a file called September, but all is owned by root. Now I'm going to change the ownership. Okay, the up arrow works. Okay, you don't have to type the commands again and again. You can just use up arrow. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to change the ownership up arrow. If you have already whatever commands you have entered, by just using up arrow, you can come to that. Let's see, you can see, right? So now I'm going to change the ownership to Liju and sysadmin in training directory. I'll change it again. CH mode is for permission. Yeah. I think today is a slow.
The system got hanged.
Which one you are connected, sir? Cloud. This is the one. Normally, this is a Cloud Jumbo is Airtel one.
Okay.
It has a least bandwidth, but this has acted as a good, has a very good
Bandwidth.
Hello.
Yeah,
Liju, can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I just called in because I just wasn't able to communicate. The Zoom tool keeps, coming out. I keep coming out of it, then automatically connecting, and then it kind of happened like 10 times now. I don't know whether you also have the same problem, or were you able to continue it?
Now,
I kind of
I don't
everything.
face any problem. I thought there is an internet connectivity issue. We are facing little slowness in the connection today, I think. But
Okay.
everything is good. I mean, they connected using their app also,
Uh-huh.
mobile app.
Because I'm connected using my phone and my laptop both, and both are disconnecting actually. It's just not one.
Yes, I did record system got hanged and disconnected.
Yeah, it could be possible that because of the slowness what we are facing, that could be the reason for today. Apologize for an inconvenience caused. But let's see if you face any problem again. You can just call Jagdish. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Okay.
Anyway, the session will be recorded, so we will look after later. But if there is any
See,
problem,
that's what I wasn't sure. The reason is, because because the session itself, both the web and the audio, both were disconnecting. I'm not sure whether it's been recorded or not.
then it will be recorded. It will be basically recorded in my local computer.
Okay.
Okay,
Fine.
so
Okay.
once the recording completes, then I basically upload it to the cloud. So it doesn't actually go there. Local computer, it records,
Okay.
right?
Cool. Okay. Fine.
Okay, now it is. So basically, we are going to change the ownership of the training directory again. And now again, I'm going to do ls minus lr. You can see that these other things remains the same. Okay, but when I do ls minus ld, the permission or the ownership and the group of the directory have changed, but not of the directories of files inside that. Correct? So if you want to do that, there is an option called -r, that is recursive, right? So if you do this is a dangerous command. Ensure that you do this only when you understand what you're doing. So here what you're going to do is that I am basically changing the owner and group of all the files and directories, all the files and directories within this directory. Correct? So this doesn't affect, any system files or something, but you should ensure that you don't change recursive permission for any file or directory unless and until it is needed.
Suppose
You can create a directory of file, what you want, you can do whatever it is, but please don't change recursive permission on /etc or something else.
got it, but the system would mean too much of adding the files does not affect the system. Would mean like system32 if you overload it, sometimes shows that ex error or something.
You have limits. See, these are small limits, right?
Yeah.
When a user account starts opening up files and all those things, there are limits. Those comes basically under system tuning and kernel parameters, where you can fine tune your system saying that this user can open up maybe 1,000 files or maybe 10,000 files. Right? There are limits which you can change. By default, it is 1024 files which user can use, or 2048 or 40. It depends on application. For example, you're running an Oracle application or some other application which might need to open up huge number of files, whether it's small file or large file, but it could open up huge number of files simultaneously. So if the system says that you cannot open more than this, then your application actually halts or hangs at that time, right? So for need and all those things, you can increase the value. That basically comes under system tuning. Clear? So you understood the recursive permission part? So here again, I am going to change the recursive. If you want to remove, there is no way of removing. You have to again change the permission to back to the other user. So see, it has become to root. Clear? Root has become the owner and group of the thing. But let's look on the permission of this thing, LSDT. So that has also changed. Clear? Got it? So there is okay. Now what I'm going to do is that I just want to change only the owner of this file. Okay, ch own idoliju. Okay, and training. So now Liju has only changed. Root remains or the group owner remains the same. Clear? Now you can't do, okay, let's try this. Chown sysadmin. What it will say? It will say invalid user. So if you are just giving an entry, chown will consider that as a user. So if you want to give this, you have to change the ownership of the group. You have to put full column. Correct? So now it has changed to sysadmin. So if I change this again back to recursivity to root, so now the permission is root, correct? And now again I just want to change only the sysadmin group recursively. There could be some need that only the group owner needs to be changed. So now what happens that ls minus r training. All the other files inside this has changed to sysadmin permission, but the owner remains the same. And if yeah, correct. And if you do the permission, R is not required basically here. So you can see root of the owner, but the group has changed to sysadmin. Clear? So what we have learned? You have learned how to change the ownership and group of a file or directory. Okay, R minus R doesn't apply to file because there is no file within a file, correct? Clear? So then we have changed, seen that key, how do you change the owner of the file alone? Owner of the file alone, you can just use the username or you can put username full colon. That is also fine. But group will not work in this way. Group, if you want to change the owner, you have to put full colon group. So group full colon is the what? Segregating means. Clear? You can't mention like chown group name directory because it will show error. What chown will consider? The next parameter what you have given, it will consider as a user. And if that user is not present, it will show error. Clear? So any question on this? Okay. So we'll move to a next topic. Okay, now let's focus on the second or the first field if I'm just using LL. Okay, this field, right? So this basically has got you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and lastly 11. Correct? So this itself has got 111 field in this. This is what we are going to learn today, and this is very important.
So this is called as
Permission.
under permission. What we are learning is this.
What is LL command?
List.
List.
Yeah. LL or LS minus L, both are same.
LL or?
LL or LS minus L.
What is like LI minus?
Yeah, see, LS is the command basically. So after command, every command or most of the commands will have switches or flags, what we call, which is followed by hyphen, like ls hyphen I, ls hyphen r, ls hyphen I. So I means inode. Inode. So if you want to have any command help on the command, what you can do is that ls hyphen hyphen help. It will give you all the switches details. See, ls hyphen I, what we have put up, right? You see this I. See, inode, correct? So if you are looking ls minus L, see, use a long listing format. Long listing is long. If I do ls just here, it is just list here. It doesn't gives you any permission or something, correct? If I do ls minus Li or L, you listen like this.
So LI and LS both are one.
Li and
L. LS hyphen LI and LS hyphen L. Both are same.
No.
No. ls minus li means L means list the long list. I means it will list the inode also.
This is called inode to check the inode link.
Correct.
And this is the list of files. If you put L, na, this is the list of files you get. Which are inode we had. If you just check.
So this is including both it will come. If you put
Yeah,
L,
correct.
both
You can combine the switches
it will
together.
come. Okay.
For example, if I do ls minus li on a training directory, correct? It has listed me
Yeah, this is the
inodes
one.
of
No, this is the
Ah,
inode.
that is the inode.
correct inodes of the directory. But if I want to see recursively, I just add r. See, it is adding recursively. Means within the directory or file, within the directory there is some other directory or file. It is listing all. So what I have done is that I am combining the switches ls minus li r. You can add more.
This is like a switch.
I can add like
Yes.
No, this is like a switch, and you can connect to any number of lines. Or
And other thing is that key, some switches together will not work. That we cannot say upfront. That's based on the commands. Clear? So if you have any questions on this or any at any point of time, see one beauty of Linux system as well is that key there is always help available in the system, whether it is server, desktop, or whatever. Okay. So you can do if you want to do any help on ls minus help. Correct? It quickly gives you help. You want to see that key, what is the minus a doing? Okay, like for example, ls minus l a gives you hidden files. Clear? Okay. So let's focus on the permissions. So first thing what you need to understand is that look at this permission. Different permissions are there. Like first, okay. So the first field in this permission set, right? First field. What is the first field? This, which shows as D. Correct? And somewhere you can see it is blank. Correct? Some you can see that it is L. Correct? L. Say this.
L.
L. So D means it's a directory. If ls minus L or ls minus L, I whatever the permission field is, in the permission field, okay, in the permission field, the first field shows you what? Shows you whether it is directory, file, or whatever it is. Correct? If it is showing D, that means it is directory. Clear? Small letter. If it is blank, nothing is there, only hyphen is there, that means it is a regular file. Files are many types. It's a regular file, so you have to type regular file. See, everything in Linux is considered as file, whether it is directory, whether it is your hard disk, your partition, your network card, graphic card. In Linux, the operating system considered everything as file. So for hard disk, there is a file. Clear? For hard disk, there will be a file that I will show you later.
Graphical also.
There will be a file associated with that. NIC card also, there will be a file. So you write to a file, instead operating system, what you do is that that gets translated to that particular device. Clear? So D, and another thing is L. L means soft link. We have spoken about soft link and hard link in last class. You can go to the video. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Okay. Or if you have some time when some other day, we can maybe have a review session also. So L, small letter L means soft link. Soft link is another, to identify soft link, there is another method. Soft link, you will have something called this pointer. See this? Pointer. Arrow. Saying that this is pointing to something else. That is soft link. And soft link also has the color change. Color change is only for the, depends upon. If the person has installed color change thing, then you will have, otherwise same thing. What is the other thing to identify is the first is soft L, second is arrow. Clear? Now we will sorry, look on some files in a directory called dev directory. Clear? So you see here also you see the permission, but there is another file type called C. C is character file. C is character file.
why it is
Character file means it could be basically for like this is a terminal, right? This is a terminal. So the file for that is basically /dev. Terminal will be tty. Correct? Clear? Terminal will be character file. Similarly, for example, you have got something known as what do you call? There's a called btrfs control. There is a file system control. Correct? So this also it's a character file.
Means character means what basically?
See, I told you that there are different type of files, right? Something onto which you can pass some what to say arguments or parameters or as an output which you can pass. Like this is a terminal.
So putty is installed, it become a character.
Putty?
If we install putty, means give the
No. The putty is not a character. This is a terminal. See, you can see this is a terminal where you have logged in. Or last time I taught you about redirection, right? You can redirect to a terminal, you can redirect to file, you can redirect to null. Correct? So here your terminal. So terminal has got a name here. So the terminals are basically called TTY. Correct? TTY0, TTY1, TTY2, like this. See?
Yeah.
Clear? So if I look on slash Devi null, see Devi null. This is a file. What type of file it is? It is a character file. That means you can redirect that your output to a device or file that is known as character file. Okay. That means anything which you can pass to it. But if you ask me, you can pass that contents to a file also. Is file a character file? No. Character files are special files specifically designed for some purpose. What purpose? Like for example, input output redirection. You type something as a command, ls-l, enter. The output should go somewhere, right? Where is your output showing? In terminal. Right? If you have a printer, you can redirect it to printer. That also becomes character. Correct? But now there is another file called, you see this, what is that?
Yes,
Yeah, this one.
SRW.
Yeah, no, this one. B.
Yeah.
B. RW is different. I just looking only the first character. B means block device. Block device means your hard disk. Correct? Block. You understand block, right?
Block.
What is a block? Block means the smallest or the area where data can be written. Correct? Your sector becomes the, what is it? Smallest area where the operating system can write something. When you look into the hard disk details, partitioning and all those stuff, right? The hard disk actually divided into small sectors where actually becomes the sector becomes the smallest area which operating system can recognize and write to it. Correct? So B means block device. You have to by heart this, at least this portion. If you do ls-l on some file, you see the first character is shown as B, you need to identify that this is a block device. Block means you can partition it, you can format it. Clear?
SDA is showing here, right? Like SDA. That is the hard disk. SDA.
Yeah, I will tell you about those things later. So here you can see that SDA, SDA 1, 2, 3, these are hard disk names. We'll speak about that when we come about when we speak about files and all those things later.
So in block device, you can do partition and what?
Yeah, partition, formatting.
Formatting.
Whatever you do in like a hard disk, right? Block device, right? Block device is something you can access that particular something separately. File system is different. There is a Windows share. Can you format it? No, you can only access that. There is a learn from a SAN. That is a block device. That means you can format it, you can partition it, then you can share it again. Correct? You can put file system on top of it. Clear? So these are some of the what to say block device which normally is needed by you. Okay, then there is something called S also, which basically relates to stalker files and all those things, basically for networking. Okay. Trisha, you're following?
Sorry. Yeah.
Okay. Clear? Any questions on this? So now next field on this permissions, you have to understand it very, what to say, clearly. Okay, the next field is something which there are two methods basically. I would suggest you learn and practice one method, right? So one thing is that basically you can use numeric permissions. Second is alphabetic permission, which normally give. Okay, so let's look on these permissions. What first is that? So first, out of this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Out of these 11 fields, take an example of this file, maybe error log. Okay, we look on only on one file because
So there is alphabetic permission.
yeah, I'll teach you. Alphabetic means you can change the permission according either numeric format or alphabetic format. Okay. So here, let's look on the permission field here. This is 9, 10, 11. 11 fields are there totally. Okay. First field is for the thing which we learned. Whether it identifies that whether it is a file, directory, what type of file, block file, character file, link file, regular file, correct? So after that, the 9 fields which is following after this first field is basically for 3 types. One is owner, one is group, the other one is others. Clear? We learned about owner and group, right? Clear? For example, Liju is a user. He is part of the sysadmin group. We are 3 people or 4 people in this classroom total. Correct? So basically, I would say that Liju is a trainer. There is a group called trainer. Liju is part of the trainer. Rest 3 of the students here are part of students group. Clear? The 2 of the other guys comes into the class, but they are not students. So which category they belong to? Those people belong to the others category, right? So others means users are the people who are not either the owner or who are not part of any group. They might be part of some other group, but they are not part of the group which is here. So those people are called others. So here the 9 fields later on is divided into 3 sectors. First 3 characters or 3 characters which is given, it will be for the user or the owner of that file or directory. Clear? The second 3 characters is basically for the group owner of that file or directory. The third or the last 3 characters on this permission field, it will basically pointing to others, right? So others means users which or groups which doesn't belong to either the owner or the group. Okay, any questions? Feel free to ask if you don't understand anything. Okay, clear? This is something which we are going to learn now.
If we have after this last reading, we have a lot of licenses there.
No, there is no lesson. Only this field will be there. Yeah.
This one is correct or
Others. Correct.
correct?
Correct. First 3 will be what? First three permission will be for user. We have seen group owner of the file or directory. Second 3 will be the group owner. Third will be others. Others means people who don't fall under this group or the user.
After this meeting, we don't bother. Only this.
It won't come.
It won't come, right? There is only this field.
Only 9 fields will be there.
We are talking about only these fields.
No, but I saw some long fields were there.
No. Where?
RWI, DR.
That is what we see then. Huh?
Can you open the list file?
There is only this much permission. There is only this much permission, correct? Either this only 9 field is there. There is no more than that. 10 total 11. First one thing, then later 9, then last one is the dot. What you see.
Okay.
Some files they will be dot, some files they will not be dot.
Okay, I got confused.
Yeah. So last file also you can write, and then we will follow this thing. Last is for SC Linux context. Dot. If you have a dot, that means the file or directory has got SC Linux set. We will teach about SE Linux later.
What is SC?
SE Linux, Security Enhanced Linux. SE Linux. Okay. This is a complex topic. People don't implement SE Linux in most of the production environment. This is mainly used in government organizations or military organizations where the security of a system is of high concern. Mainly people don't implement because there are less people who know SE Linux, and implementing SE Linux is a complex process. You need to have very good people knowing about SE Linux. You need to have people or people who are administering the systems. Okay, those people need to have a very good understanding of SE Linux, right? And SE Linux can be implemented for any of the. It's just an enhanced permission. What do you call? Correct. Enhanced permission. But normally there are two type of permission in Linux. One is mandatory access control MAC, and second is discrete access. What we learn now is discrete access. Mandatory access control is something which is implemented using this thing, SE Linux. Or there is another form of application called AppArmor, but that is not for Red Hat Linux. SUSE Linux they use basically for AppArmor. In Red Hat Linux or some other Red Hat clone distributions, they use SE Linux. Okay. But in your examination, if you're preparing for examination, there is SE Linux context, but only for few contexts are there, which doesn't affect the system much. Okay, we'll learn about that. So for time being, understand that key. If dot is there, that means you need to understand that SE Linux context is set for that py dot directory. Clear? Okay, now we will come to the permissions. So let's look at these permissions here. An example, this directory, VMware tools, some directories there, correct? So look at only the NAN port field, starting from the 2nd to 10th. These three, which is highlighted, correct? You can say read, write, so RWX is there. First field is there. Second field and third field is blank. So blank means there is no permission associated for group or others. Clear? Blank means there is no permission associated. Here the permission is only given to owner of this directory. Who is the owner? Root. Even the group is there, but for this group and others there is no permission associated. Clear?
Yeah, group is also root. No?
Yeah, that's what when a default user gets created, a group by his name automatically gets created. Clear? So there is a user called Liju, correct? There's also a group called Liju. Because when last session we were not there, when you create a user, when a user gets created, by default, a group with his name automatically gets created, to which he is member of. Right? You have the privilege of creating a user to make some other group as his primary group. Right? At the same time, you can make the user a member of secondary groups. Even after creating a user also, you can change it. You have the rights to modify, you have the privilege to modify a users to make some other group as a primary group or some other user group as a secondary group. Yeah?
But first read and fourth one is R is there. So it's only for read access.
Yeah, don't look at the read and all those things. Let me tell you.
No, I'm getting confused. Like
I'll tell you. Look at this. Look at this one by one.
you said that a user owner group and X, one more X is there. That is also group owner of the field, right?
First, you look at this. That's why I told you one by one. Correct. See, look at this field. Only look at this field. Don't look at any other field. First letter D is for directory. Last one is context. So that means the middle NAN is NAN 10, 11. There are 11 fields. First field for type of file, that is directory of address. Second to 10th field is for permission. 11th field is for SE Linux context. Now this NAN fields, whatever is there in between, we divide into three portions. Hyphen, 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 hyphen. Correct? First three portions is for owner, second three portion is for group, last three portion is for others. Now look at this file, this permission. Here what you see is that only the, you can see RWX. Don't look at RWX thing. Just consider that there is some character. So that means some permission is assigned only for the user. For group and others, it is blank. That means there is no permission given to group and others. For what? For this directory. Which directory? This directory which are highlighted. Clear? So this is same for all the other directories still here. Now let us look at this file, error.log. This is different from something what we saw just now, right? So now you can see that there is RWX, sorry, RW hyphen. So that means this is first field. So some permission is missing for user, but there is some permission for owner and group. Clear? For link file, it will always show RWX, RWX, RWX. That you have to remember. That doesn't mean that every file which shows RWX is a link file, because link file will always be identified by L. Clear? Got it? So now I will teach you how to do this permission. So group ownership is changed by a command called chown. With chown command, you can change a group ownership or you can change a user owner. chmod is the command which you use to change the permission. chmod, MOD. Okay, to change the permission of file or directory. Correct? So just like chown, here also the recursive applies. That means when you are changing permission of a directory, and if you want to change the permission of a directory completely, that means any other files or directory within that, you can use -r. But again, use it with caution, because it will create all the directory files of permission within that directory. Don't even change the permission of any system folder. Don't put -r and all those things on system files. Your system might be useless. Yeah, you should not do. Correct? Your system might be useless, because see, understand that you are root user. Root can do anything on the system. Normal user cannot change permission and all those things for other user or system files. Clear? Okay, so syntax is chmod space, correct? Flags which you want to use. Then is the permission or the mod what is there, and last is the directory or file name. Clear? Basically write file, because everything in Linux is considered as file. Clear? Now write down the numbers which I say. Okay, read small letter r is equal to 4, numeric 4. Here like read is equal to 4. Okay. Then in the next line you can write maybe w, write is equal to 2. Read for r, w means write, is equal to 2. That means this is a permission, numeric permission what we are saying. Okay, x is means execute for 1. Now execute, what does execute permission mean? In Windows, if you want to execute a file, can you execute a text file? No, you can only open it. But can you execute a exe file? Yes, you can. You double click it, opens up and it starts its job. What job? It might install some application. That is what you call execution, or executing something. In Linux, by just changing the permission, you can make a file executable. Clear? But if it is a text file which don't have anything, or if you have some words, it will not execute anything. It is a bad command. So, for example, you have a script. You have a script, correct? Bash script or some other scripts out there. You want to execute it, correct? Yeah, you can change that to permission to execute, correct? So that a user can execute it. Now the execute permission can be given to whom? Owner, group, or others. You can give to others also because we have 3 fields, right? What happens if you give an execute permission for others? He can log into the system and execute it. Security breach.
But only you can execute, but not read or write.
That depends upon what permission. Just we are talking about execute right now. Correct. He may not be able to open it. He may not be able to write into it, but he can execute it. Correct. So permissions, when you grant to user group or others, it should be very much understandable. You must understand what you are giving. Wrong permission or granting wrong permission to people will cause damage to the system at one or the other point of time. Most of the people without understanding, even people with experience, I have seen people, something is not working, let's give full permission to other people. That is wrong. By giving full permission, you are not going to solve a problem. They don't know what they are doing. Right? So you should only give permission which is needed. That means anywhere as a good security practice or as a good system admin practice, you should only grant what is needed. Don't grant over permissions. Clear? Right? If you say that only that particular user is needed, grant permission only to that user to a file. If you think that multiple users need file, create a group and add those users to that group and give permission to that group rather than giving permission to others. Right? In a system, reading may not be a big problem. Anyone can read a file. You are not going to publish your will in the system, right? So that you others don't want to read it. System files, anyone can read it. Correct? But if there is some data stored in the system which is secured, right? You don't want users to read that. Correct? So you don't need that. Clear? So read, write, and execute. There's only 3 permission in the system. Read means you can read it. Write means, of course, you can write. Right? For example, if you have a write permission in a directory, that means you can create a directory or file within that. Correct? You can change that name, you can move that directory. If you have execute permission within a directory, that means you can get into that directory. If you have execute permission for a file, that means you can execute that file, provided that file has some valid, meaningful data. You type XYZ and I change the permission of the file, you try to execute, done. There is nothing in that. But I put, sorry, I put some meaningful script, small script, to just display my name or to display the kernel in the system. I made executable, I can execute that file. What will happen? I can execute the file and file will execute and it will show the output. Clear? So this is important. One thing what I'm saying to that, last time I told you, we will start writing small script. So tomorrow session onwards, we will start a small script. The script is nothing but the commands what you learn. To basically, this script will be basically to collect some system data. So end of the full class, that means end of this whole session, you should be having a working script which would collect some data from the system. Correct? So you have to ensure that this you do on every class. So because we will be keep appending this to the file. It will be just like a small project. So read, write, execute. Got it? So what happens if I want to give read and write permission to a user? What should be done? What here I have given the numbers, right? Read, write, execute. Correct? If I want to give read and write permission to a user, correct? What permission would be there?
4.
Not 4. 6. You need to count it. So 4, 6. 4 plus 2, 6. Correct? Yeah. If I want to give only read permission, what is there? 4. If I want to give only write permission, 2. If I want to give only execute permission, 1. If I want to give what is the write and execute, 3. 2 plus 3. If I want to give read, write, execute, read, write, execute, 7. So the permissions are from 1 to 7. 1 means read, 2 means write, 3 means read and write, read and execute, read and execute. 4 means read, 5 means read and execute, 6 means read and write, 7 means read, write, and execute. So 7 is the max permission that you can give to a file or directory. Right?
Suppose you're saying first 3 is for group file.
This is applicable either for first or group or others.
Okay, suppose I want to give access to some file, so I'll put R first. First 3 in the lines is enough. Fields.
Yeah, fields.
I'll put R hyphen. Then again.
No, you're not putting hyphen R. I will tell you how to implement.
Okay.
Here I am only talking about the permission that you're going to give by using numeric method. So write it down. 1 means 1 is equal to execute. You can write instead of or maybe execute and bracket X, because that is the thing which you are going to see every time. Correct. 1 is equal to execute and bracket X. Clear? Or bracket X. 2 is write W. 3 is write and execute. So bracket what you do? WX. Sirisha, you're following? Is there? Oh, she was not there.
Hi, Leju, I'm there. I got disconnected again.
Okay, no worries. Okay, if you have any concerns, maybe you can just ping me later to do that. Okay, one more thing. Just you're available on 2nd of October. Hello, Sirisha, you there?
Hello.
Yeah, Sirisha, you there?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay, I just have a question.
Okay.
That on 2nd of October, you're available for a session class? I mean, we're planning that we will be taking.
Is that on a weekday, is it?
Yeah, weekday. There's the 2nd October is holiday, right? Wednesday. Hello. I think network issue.
Can you hear me, Leju? Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay. Sorry, I lost you there again. So you were asking me if I were available on the 2nd.
Yeah, 2nd of October.
Okay. Yeah. What time will it be? The usual time?
We will start early, maybe 1:30, and finish off by 5:30. You can just give a call now to her. Say that it looks like there's some instability on the system. Okay, let's see. Maybe Jagdish will talk to her. So read, write. Okay, what thing you written? Everything now. Okay. So you have to write in bracket RWX, RW, and the form should be in this way: RWX. It's not PWXR, because you should read what is being seen here. Because why I'm doing it that, because later when you refer back, you should understand. By reading RW, it's read, write permission. R, only read permission. You see RWX, read, write, execute for honor. So in the first field, what happens here? Here on this,
Execute.
can view that.
Yeah, I can.
So first field, what happens? The owner RW hyphen. The owner has got only read and write permission. Right? Now
Only read.
the group has got only read permission. Clear? That is W and X part is blank. That means W or execute permission is not there. Similarly, for the others, read and only read permission. Correct? So what this means is that to a file called error log, which is in /temp, correct? The permission given to it is read write, read. So what is read write?
Read, write.
6.
No. 5. Read right no.
Read write
6.
6. Okay. So the permission given is 6, 4, 4.
Can you just tell me? I just told only 3, first 3 only. What is 4 stands for?
Yeah. Okay. Let me just put it again. So let me just put it here. Okay. So that in the recordings, so later on you can actually basically look into it. Okay. So 1 means it is read.
Execute.
Sorry. I just thought of it is execute. Okay. All it works. Right. 2 means right. Okay. And 3 means write and execute. Okay, so here it is. This 4 means
Can
read.
be both read or
4 means 1 minute. 4 means read. Sorry, read. Okay. 5 means read.
What about W?
Okay. Read and execute. So it will be R and X. Okay. 6 means
Read and write.
read and write. So it will be R and W. Okay. 7 means read and write and execute. So it will be RW X. Got it? So RWX is the
Highest.
maximum permission that you can have. Okay, for a file or directory. Clear? So how it goes? Read. Clear? So what do you want if you want to give read, write, execute permission?
7.
It will be 7. Right? So our permission format is basically in format hyphen, then
RW.
then again it follows by hyphen, and then again hyphen. So this will be user. Then what?
Group.
Then it will be group.
Others.
Then it is for
Others.
others. So if you want to give full permission to the user, full permission to the user or owner.
RW.
Okay, I will say that owner instead of group.
RW.
Okay, so it is RWX here. Correct? Only for user group. The others will be
Blank.
blank. So if I want to give only read permission for the owner.
Or
Okay, or maybe I would take, okay, read permission for the owner. So rest two will be blank.
okay, put
and
the
for
middle
the-
one also, right?
Yeah, for group also I want to have read permission. So I'll put and then blank. Others also I want to have read permission. Only read permission.
My question is that instead of putting first R, I can put in second -R.
There is no means, right? You can, but what happens that if the owner is not, then who will manage that?
No, first three is for owner, right?
Yeah.
So the first three like -F1. So why it's for specifically for someone? Or if you I've seen some files RR are there. Three like
RR where?
I've seen some files.
You're talking about this?
Yeah,
It can't be.
it can't be.
Why can't? Because it is not for, it is only for permission. For a group, for honor permission, what is the permission? But you can have max.
Seven.
Read, write, execute. So read we have already given.
Mhm.
It is for honor. The again read is not needed, right?
Okay.
Correct.
Oh,
Yeah. So we can have either give, write, or execute. Read is already given.
mhm. I got it.
Correct. So now you can have in this format. Normally in permissions, what we normally give is read and write. Okay, or we will say for directories, the permission will be what to say, read and write. Okay, read, write, which normally is there. So you can say that, or I will say that what I'm looking for. Okay, if a root user is normally creating a directory, it could be normally the permission would be in read, write, execute, and then it will be read, write, sorry, read, execute, and read, execute. Okay, the other will be blank. Clear?
Suppose if I want to R icon X, think it that way also that will.
That cannot go.
Okay.
Correct. R-X doesn't mean.
Read execute.
See, you are not, you don't give permission in this format. You give permission in the numeric format.
Mhm.
This is what you see in the listing.
Okay.
So don't look at RWX. Just look on the permission, that effective permission you have. You can't give RWX and those things, or RX. Clear?
Okay.
You can only give the numeric. That is what I made you to write these things. Now, how are you going to give permission? This is now what we are going to learn. Now, what you learn is what is the permission that is listed. So, if you're looking at the permission field, you can see RWX. That means the owner is having read, write, execute. RX means the group is having read and execute. If it is a directory, for group file and directory, it is different permission, right? Read, execute means for a directory means you can change to that directory and you can read the contents of the directory. But for file, it is different. File what means? Read means you can read the file, execute means you can execute the file. Correct? So how are you going to give the permission? If I want to give the permission to a file named file1, okay, what permission should I give? Maybe okay, let this be a directory, okay, which is simple. I'll say directory 1, dir1 is a which you want to give permission. What permission I want to give to this directory? I'm going to give to this directory read, write, execute. Okay, read, execute, read, execute. Okay, this is the permission which I'm going to give, or which I want. So what is the command to change permission? Chmod. Okay, clear? And what is the permission? Read, write, execute. The permission should be in this format: user, group, and others. You can't change it. It can't be group, owner, and this thing. It can only be user, group, and others. So read, write, execute means full permission. What is full permission? 7. Look at here. Right? Full permission. Then what I want? I want read, execute. What is this? 5. So 5 for group. And then again I want read, execute for others. So I'll put 5 again. Then I want to give the directory name which I want to give. You can also give the complete path.
You need to give the complete path.
That is the normal method. Lady path also you can give, but normally in scripts and all those things, it is better to give the complete path.
If there are multiple files like in DRL, if you are in
If it is there multiple files, in that directory, you can give star. For all. For all, or if you can give this permission, what I told you, recursive. Recursive.
Everything.
For everything within this directory. It will include this directory as well as anything within that. It will not change the permission of temp. Okay, or any other directory within temp. Now, what is the end directory? That is what you have to check for. Directory 1. So this permission applies for 755 applies for temp directory 1 and any files or directory within that. Clear? So let's come back to our command mode. So we have a directory called training. So ls-ld training. Correct? What permission it has?
It has like
Read, write, execute.
everything.
Read, execute.
Seven.
Read, execute. So basically here,
Owner has the full access.
yeah. So basically
Others
here,
have only
yeah. So
execute.
basically this should be hyphen and this. Okay, there's the format which is being displayed. Read, write, execute. Right. So write is missing. Clear? So coming back to our screen again. So this is what you call read, write, execute, read, execute, read, execute. So 755. So did I give this permission to this training in this session? No.
No.
This is a default
Default
permission,
For any file we are creating, default
not file directory.
directory.
Who is the user? Root user. So that is being determined by a value called umask. Okay. Umask is the value which determines what should be the file or directory permission. Okay, what determines what should be the permission of the directory or file which that user creates. Okay.
created by user or root. Right?
Keep it like this. Umask determines the value or the permissions of the Umask determine the value which determines what should be the permission of file or directory created by that user. So by default, as I told, there are two types of users in the system for login purpose.
User and
Root. So for root, umask is one. For all the other users, there will be a different umask. Not individual users. For all other users, one umask. For root, one umask. This is for security reasons. Because as a normal user, he can do it, right? He can create a user file or directory which may not be accessible or which he cannot go and change the system directories, right? So that is not much applicable. So if you okay, I will tell you the umask permission here. Right? Okay, let me just switch to user Liju. Okay, su space hyphen space username is the thing to switch to a user, and this user is already present. We have done. Okay, I have logged into the user and typing umask. Do you see a difference in the umask? No? Yes. The first umask is 0022 for root. And for normal user, the umask is 0002. This you have to remember. Right now, umask for root is 0022. Umask for user is 0002. Okay. As a user, I am creating a directory mkdir test. Clear? Test directory have read, write, execute, read, write, execute, and read, execute. So this is 775. But what we saw in root, it is 755. Correct? This permission, did I give? No. This has come by default. This is because of the umask value. Now I will tell you how this UMask comes in. Okay. Now come back to the screen here.
Mummy, when did you
She has a baby. Okay, so coming to UMask is UMask for root. It is what we saw 0022, correct? UMask for user it's 0002. Okay. So now let's see that how it effectively comes down. So set the permission as 7777. Okay. Okay. Let's talk about the last three fields. First field we will speak about because that has got a special permission. Let's see about the last three fields. 777 minus 022. Forget about the first field now. Only take the last three fields. Because first field has a special permission which we haven't studied. We'll study after this. 022. So minus 022. What do you get? What do you get?
Read and write. Read and execute.
Read, write, execute.
No, read and execute. Write and execute. 022. No?
022.
If you minus
777 minus 022.
Oh, you're asking that. I am thinking about.
No, 777 mathematics.
Okay, okay. I am thinking something.
Okay. Odmus. 777 minus 022. What do you get? 755. What is 755?
Everything. Full permission.
What is 755?
Read,
Read, write, execute.
read and execute, and read and execute,
Read and execute.
and read and
Sorry.
execute,
Read and execute.
read and execute.
This is what you got when the root user created the directory. Correct? Correct. So this is how you derive into this thing. And for a normal user, same thing. 777 minus 002. We are taking the last three portion. Okay. So what happens? What do you get? 775. You got it? And what is that permission? Read, write, execute. Read, write, execute. And read, execute. This is what you got for the normal user. Correct? So this is how the UMask. If you change this UMask, this permission will change. How? Okay, let's speak about UMask for the normal user. Okay, this is applicable for both. I'm showing in the normal user. 777. Okay, for example, I want an effective permission of read, write, execute, execute. Sorry, read, execute, and blank. I don't want others to have any permission. When a user creates a file or directory, directory. Okay, file or directory, whatever it is. So here the permission I'm talking about directory. So that means this permission, what is this? Permission is 750. Correct? 750. 0 means nothing. Clear? So in order to get this, what do you want? 77 is constant. Minus,
7,
what do you need to minus?
1 mask.
I want 750. So what I should minus from 777 in order to get 750? 0
0.
to 7.
7.
Correct.
27.
So 7 minus 0, 7. 7 minus 2, 5. 7 minus 7, 0. You got this permission? So what the UMask should I set? 0 to 7.
Correct.
Correct. The full permission minus UMask will give you effective permission. Okay. So let's set this UMask value for a normal user. So for this, I am going to log in as user. UMask is 002. I am going. You can just change the UMask value temporarily until the system reboots. UMask as, let's put the first value also. Okay, but 027. Clear?
Are you using in Linux machine?
Oh, sorry, I haven't shared it. Huh?
Uh,
Okay, no problem. Okay, so I'm going to change the UMask value of a normal user, for which I logged into user. See this? User dollar, and I issued the UMask command to check what is the UMask value. It is 0002. So for time being, forget about the first value. Just add the last three values with first value as 0. Okay. So I'm changing UMask value as 0027. You know that 27 what we got. Clear? Enter. Now you check the UMask value 0027. Now I'm going to create a directory test1. See what is the permission of test1? Read, write, execute, read, execute, and 0. This is what we wanted. Correct. This we wanted, right? See, this is what we wanted. Read, write, execute, 0, 0. So we wanted an effective permission of 750. Correct. That we got as 750 by changing the UMask value. This UMask value is only effective till the user logs out or the system is rebooted. If you want to make it permanent, then you have to make it permanently in the profile files, which we will later learn. So there are a couple of things which we need to do to understand profile files. Correct?
So once you reboot, the permission will go.
I'm only going for not the UMask value will go. It will revert back to the original, which is 0002. Clear? This you need to practice. Okay, this is very important. UMask.
So UMask value, it also tells like the permission also, right?
No. Yeah.
No, if you change the UMask value, because the permission.
That is what we tried. UMask. That is what I wrote. Make you write. Right. Read that. What I wrote. UMask about UMask. Read it.
Value that determines what should be the permission of the file or directory created by the
User. So this user has created a file or directory. This user needed a different permission. Two methods. Either create a directory and change the permission. Correct. But what happens in some situations where effectively you do not want the permission to be set. For example, you want some special permission. For example, as a company policy, you don't want others to read the user's file. So every time user creates, he might forget to change the permission. So best what? Set the UMask value. Correct. Accidentally also, he will not give permissions to the user. If he creates a file and he forgets to change permission, then also there is no problem. Correct. So UMask value determines the permission. Where you want to use it, that depends. Correct. Clear? So I am in /home Liju, which is a home directory. Correct. So I'm just switching back to the normal user. ls -l /home. So there are 3 users in this system. Possibly because there are directories here. Home directory /home is a directory where users home directory will be created. Clear? So now what happens is that See, the user's home directory, only that user will have permission. You got my point? Now you do that. Why effective permission is important? We are not giving others, because if the user, see here the I can make the user 4 as member of Liju. Correct. By default it won't be. If the user wishes, he can. Correct. So here what I have made the permission is the read and execute, and the other permissions are blank. That means except that user, not even the members of the group, except that user, no one can see or enter the directory Liju. Correct? For example, root can do anything. Root can do anything. For example, let me just set the password for this. Okay, let's log in as user 4. I'm logged in as user. Which directory he will be in? /home user 4, because that is his home directory. Clear? Got it? I can change it to the previous directory. I'm in home now. CD. I'm trying to change it to Liju's home directory. What happens? Permission denied. Why?
No access.
Because this user don't have any permission on this. This user falls under what? Others category. Because he is not member of Liju. Even he is member of Liju group also, then also he cannot log in because, or change to the directory, because there is no permission for the group. Clear? This is a very important concept about users permission and the group permission. Clear? Okay. So let's create a directory called okay. So we have a directory called training. Okay. Let's change the permission of this directory. chmod. Let's say the owner has got write permission, read, write, execute permission, and the group is who? Sysadmin, correct? So now there is no one member of sysadmin. We'll add it later. So I'm saying that key sysadmin has got read, write, execute. Again, sysadmin, whoever are part of sysadmin, let's do all things. Others, zero permission. Okay, or maybe read, one, execute, 5 permission will read and execute. That means he can get into the directory, but he will not be able to write. So who falls under this category? Others. Correct? Sysadmin. Sorry, not sysadmin, training. Training directory, right? I am giving permission 775 to which directory? Training directory. See? 775. That means root user can read, write, execute to this directory. Any user who are member of sysadmin can read and write or write to this directory, but other users who are not members of this sysadmin, that come under other users, right? Those will not be able to write to it because there is no write permission. Correct? So let's take up this user. I am logging as okay. Let me add this. Let me first add the users. Okay, Liju is a user, correct? So user mode is the command to modify user. -G for secondary group. Okay, sysadmin and Liju. Okay, ID Liju. You can see Liju is a member of sysadmin group also. Clear? Okay, but I haven't added user 4. So user 4 falls under others category. Any questions? Bharat? Okay, what we have done here. Okay, let's only take the directory ls -ld training. What we have done here, we have changed the permission of this directory to what permission? 775. what does this mean? Permission.
Execute.
Read, write, execute for whom?
System
For
Look at
training.
for root.
First thing, read, write, execute for root.
For root
On which? Training directory.
training directory.
That means root user can read, write, and execute in this directory. That means he can execute means he can change to that directory. And then we have got read and execute for whom? Sysadmin group. Group. So any user who belongs to sysadmin can read, write, and execute into this directory. So I have looked this Liju. I have just added Liju as to this group. Okay, by using user mode command. We have already covered that in the previous session. That's why you know it. So when I look ID command followed by a username will show that which all groups and groups this user is member of. So the first thing what it shows is UID and the ID number is the username, and second is his primary group. I told you when a user creates, automatically a primary group will be created by his name, right? So that's why you see here Liju. That's called GID. Okay. The third is something which we are interested right now. Right? So this user Liju is a member of what? Liju is a member of Liju group as well as he is a member of sysadmin. Correct? Then if I do a ID of user 4, correct? Is he member of sysadmin? No. So when we are going to do a test now, we are going to log in as Liju and he is going to write to training directly. Since he is a member of sysadmin, he will be able to write. But if I log in as user 4, he can change to the directory, but he will not be able to write. Okay. So let's log in as Liju user. Okay. What is the password? Okay. I have logged in to the user. Clear? Where is the directory? /10. Correct? Training.
Yeah, which are you using some other script?
Am I showing?
No.
Oh, same screen.
It's not much.
Let me share something else. Oh, sorry. I'm actually sharing.
Duplicate you, I think.
Yeah,
Duplicate
correct.
one.
Yeah, correct. Can I see now? Right? Can you see now?
Yeah.
So, who am I? I'm Liju. So, which directory we have given permission to? /10 training. Can I go into this directory? Yes. Why? Because you have execute permission. mkdir Liju. Can I create? Yes.
Yes, sir.
What will be the permission of this directory now? Sorry, what will be the permission of this directory, or what will be the owner of this directory? Who will be the owner of this directory? Liju directory.
750.
Yeah. So owner of this directory is Liju. Correct. So the permission is 77770. Why? Because I told you that na, either you log out or reboot. So this guy has opened a new session. Correct. The new session means what? The UMask is not effective. 775 because that is the default UMask permission. Clear? Now what I'm going to do is that I am going to again take a duplicate session. Can you see now? Login screen?
Yeah, the temp.
No, temp, no? Now?
Yeah.
Okay. Now what I do is that I log in as user 1. Sorry, user 4. Okay. Duplicate session. Open it. Here. Can you see now? Login. User 4. What happened? Okay, let me just take up the other session. Temp directory you can see? As root. Maybe I just switch it as user 4. User 4. Logged in? Clear? What is the directory? Slash of users. Where I want to go? Slash temp training. Will be able to get in? I am able to get in, correct? Why? Because I've got execute permission. On where? Training. mkdir user 4. Will I be able to create directory? No. What direct message you get?
Not create directly.
Permission denied. That means this user don't have permission to write there. Correct? I'm moving back and doing a ls minus ld on training. See? When I check the permission, I see that only sysadmin group ID user 4. Only sysadmin group and the root user have got read write permission to this directory. So is this user root user? No. So he cannot write. Is this user member of sysadmin?
No.
No. So he cannot write. Correct? So this is effective permission. This user don't have permission to write to this. Correct? Now what happened is that can I change the permission of this directory? No. Why? Because this is not on. Let's try. chmod 777 training operation not permitted. There's a normal user and this directory is not owned by him. Now what I do is that I change chmod 777 to training. Correct? Now will he be able to do that? mkdir / temp training user 4 I created. Correct? ll / temp training. See? It's created by this user. Right? Will this user be able to change the group owner? Let's change. chmod, sorry, chown sys admin to what? User 4. Where is this user? Give the complete part. Training. Correct? Who am I? User 4.
I think you need to switch it.
I'm in this user. Sorry. I was thinking about this. So now you see that this, of course, you know, right? What to say? Green color widget gets because of execute permission, right? So for execute permission, specifically for others, it will give for others. Okay. Now what you do is that I'm changing chown user, or maybe just keep it user root only. I change it to user 4. Okay, user 4 to training. So now user 4 has this. Okay. Now if I log in as Liju, correct? cd temp training mkdir Liju 1. Where am I? Is the directory. Since that particular user was already a member of this particular group earlier, right? Irrespective of change the permission, that user is able to create file and directories in that directory, some directory. This is what you call effective permissions when you get it out, right? So now you learned about how a directory's permission can be changed, how a ownership can be changed, how a group ownership can be changed, how or what permission does a user or a group, does a user or a root user gets when he creates a directory or file by default. What determines that? UMask value. UMask value determines what permission a file or directory gets when a user creates that. That means as a user 1 who has got a UMask value of 0002, correct? Users. Root has UMask value of 0022. So when a user logs in, he will be able to create a directory or file which will have an effective permission of 775. Correct? We saw that if we change the UMask value to get a default permission of 750 or 770, then what should be the UMask value? It should be 0027. We did the math, right? How to get the effective permission? Just simply minus UMask value from 777. Take the last digit, 3 digit. The first digit of the UMask value we will see, because that has got a specific permission called sticky bit and other thing. Clear on this portion? Okay, so let's see that what else permission is there. Okay, I will teach you what execute permission means. Okay, so let's see. I've got a simple script known as script1. Okay, script.sh. Simple script. Okay, simple script. Basically, the script format is .bin bash. There is a shebang. We'll learn later. Okay, simple thing. What? Echo. This is my script. Correct? So there are multiple ways where you can execute a script, right? We are not going to learn this as of now. We are going to learn how do you make the script executable. LL script. Is it executable? No. Correct? I'm going to make it executable by giving permission. Read write is already there. 744. I'm not going to give permission to others. Correct? I'm only interested in giving permission for me or the owner. Now it has become executable. See, bash. Now I change the permission back to this thing. What is it? 6 is the normal permission. Normally, when you want to execute something, you do /script.sh. This is how you execute an executable. Okay.
The script as well.
Dot slash and the executable file name if it is in the current path. That you have to specifically write. If it is in the current path, you have to put this dot slash script name. Otherwise, directly you can put script.sh. If it's there in your path, we'll learn about path later. What it says? Permission denied. Why? Because I'm trying to execute it. I can execute using bash command. It will give me the result. But this is not execution, normal execution. This I am telling the script to use this interpreter. Okay, but that is not execution. This is what I mean by execution. That means any executable which you want to run, if it is in a current path, put dot slash and this thing. Otherwise, if it is there in the your path, you can just put script.sh. So it says different thing, command not found, because it is not in your path. Okay. So now I'm going to change the permission. chmod 744 script. Correct? Permission has changed. Now I do script.sh, it will execute. Correct? So this is how you make the execution. Make a file executable. Got it?
So what is VIM?
Vim is the editor. VIM you told, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Vim is editor. We spoke about Vim in the last class. Not in the first class, right? First class. In the first class, basics we learned about. Vim is the editor to edit a file. To open a file, you can also view it. Okay. So I've created a directory named Red Hat, and the owner is root sysadmin. Okay, and sysadmin chmod 775 Red Hat. So sysadmin members in sysadmin group can write to this. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to give a permission chmod to, what is the permission here right now? 775 in Red Hat. Right. So do you see some changes that has happened now? See this?
Two has
Huh?
two has
2 has come. That is another thing is that in the permission field,
yes is come.
S has come in the group.
Script is
Okay, not script. This is something known as set GID. What do you call it? Set GID. Okay. So I will tell you what happens. It is /10. Okay. So I have logged in as Liju. Who am I? Correct? I'm in the directory /10 Red Hat. Correct? And now what happened? I have created a directory named Liju. You see a difference here now? What difference?
the root.
What difference is there?
Two has I think in SS come.
Do you see this?
Set. Oh, sysadmin.
Correct? By default, if a user had created a file or directory, the owner will be the same as his owner, the user who has created the file or directory. But now here the owner is sysadmin. Sorry, group owner is sysadmin.